On May 24, 1942, in Toledo, Ohio, 3 years after The Wizard of Oz came out in theaters, Marcia Friedman was born to Ruth and Sidney Lopate. Her father and mother were both retail salespeople. She also had a sister, Charlene, who was 5 years older than her. In 1961, at the beginning of her first year at Ohio State University, Marcia met her husband, Alfred Friedman, and they got married on June 9, 1963. The two of them had 3 children, Charles, Suzanne, and Julia. Marcia and Al raised their children in Bexley, Ohio, and they were active members in their Jewish community. While being a mother was one of her greatest passions, Marcia was also involved in community theater and was most proud of her roles as Captain Hook of Peter Pan and the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz, though she always said she wished she could have played the Wicked Witch of the West. Although she enjoyed playing the villain, Marcia was the exact opposite in real life. She served as a regional president and on the national board of directors for a nonprofit organization called World Ort. Ort is a Jewish organization that provides education and training for teachers and students in all different communities around the world. Being a school teacher after graduating, education was very important to Marcia. Ort's maxim is educating for life, and their goal is to help people become economically sufficient in whatever setting they live in. Marcia started working with Ort in 1968 and continued ever since. In 1981, at age 39, Marcia was diagnosed with breast cancer. Breast cancer is a disease caused by uncontrolled growth of breast cells, cells that don't die out and regenerate. This usually originates 5 to 10% of the time from inheriting abnormal genes from parents. 85 to 90% of breast cancer happens simply due to aging and life. Marcia was considered young when she was diagnosed. Luckily for Marcia, in around her late 40s, she was finally in remission, which means that the cancer was inactive and would not continue to grow. Almost 15 years later, Marcia was given 5 grandchildren who she was able to sing and read to and bake cakes with. Her son Chuck had 2 boys and a girl, and her middle daughter Susie 1 girl and 1 boy. Marcia and Al were dedicated grandparents and flew out for every event, to Washington, to Illinois, to Ohio, and back again. In around 2011, Marcia received shocking news. The cancer had returned, this time in her bones. When breast cancer spreads to other parts of the body, it's called metastatic breast cancer, or stage 4. There are no known cures for stage 4 breast cancer, but because of the increasingly advanced medical technology being developed, Marcia and Al were hopeful that a cure would soon be found. In 2013, Marcia and Al moved to Seattle temporarily to be treated by the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. She went through a trial for a new drug that worked for her a while, but once it stopped, Marcia and Al moved back to Ohio. It was a difficult time for Marcia and her family, but they were able to push through and still stay positive. Even when she was weakened by the medicine and had to get around by wheelchair, Marcia still continued to travel and see her children and friends across the states. There was a muddled time for about 2 years, with Marcia's tumor markers changing constantly, and she had to switch medication multiple times. Nothing was really working. As I said before, there is no known cure for stage 4 breast cancer. Marcia's liver was deteriorating, as well as her bones. She was a bright light of a person trapped inside a failing body. In around late September, Marcia and Al received news from the doctor that Marcia had a few months, if not weeks, to live. My grandmother, Marcia Eileen Friedman, passed away on December 1st, 2015. She was only 73. Though breast cancer is essentially what took Marcia's life, it wasn't what defined it. She didn't let her sickness hold her back from any adventure or faraway friend. She had close friends from all over the United States and always made time to have a heartfelt conversation with them. Marcia Friedman was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a wife, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, a master baker, an enthusiast of the color yellow, a singer, an actress, a fair sport in board games, and a Wizard of Oz aficionado. She was strong-willed and kept her humor and kindness even in her last days. Marcia Friedman was a fighter, a resistor.